Alright, it's Monday, July 2nd, and this is the third official update for 2381X. First things first, I built a little thing on this side of my desk, just because aluminum is sharp and it was punching holes into the IKEA desk, so yeah, just be careful of that. So, if you'll notice, some things have changed. We no longer have any flywheel. That's sitting right here, unchanged still. We're just waiting for the metal to be cut, aluminum to be cut. Still have not found the person with the saw. He is not responding to my texts. That's okay, he's probably on vacation. We'll talk about this instead. So if you remember last time we had an assembly with 5 wide towers and 4 motors stacked on top. We've changed that up a bit to be 4 motors down the center of, look at it, 3 wide C channel. So what 3 wide C channel allows us to do is mount the motors vertically, as you see here. Right? And this is actually right up against that C channel. We can push it back a bit if we need to, but our drive, we'll talk about our drive in a second, but the drive is kind of blocking this motor. We can fix it if we need to. Hopefully we don't. It's because this is the flywheel area. It feeds up this way, and there's a flywheel that's coming up here, right? But our motors, again, still set up 3 to 1. So we've got these 2 motors sandwiching a 12-tooth gear, and that's driving the back wheel sprocket, 12 tooths. 12 tooths because I don't have 18 tooth sprockets. I have these 2. That's it. So if I get bigger sprockets, I'll change it. If not, so be it. And then we then have these 3 gears feeding this 12 tooth, which is then chained up to the front. And I've gotten rid of the terrible 6 tooth bends that were doing 90 degrees. Hopefully this is enough to keep the chain apart and off that metal. Last time I did make a statement that chain on metal is okay. It's apparently very bad for the metal. And very bad for friction. I've never actually bothered to care. Like, friction isn't something I care too much about. I didn't care about it last season. So again, these are flap bearings that are vertically mounted with the motors. And you'll see a few of them are sideways and a few of them vertical. It's really just whatever I could get to fit with the tools I had, because, you know, I did screw this up once. I moved this over here, and then they were turning in opposite directions. And that's just a huge mistake I made. Again, that's just our entire drive. And if you look at it, it's now a lot lower down, and it looks a lot cleaner and nicer than what I had before, which I do quite enjoy. Although, to be fair, there is very little clearance between everything. And there's nothing actually holding these shafts in other than friction. Later on, I'm going to take plexi and then just jam it in there and take a screw or something and screw it down on both sides. Screw it into the plexi maybe, actually. And that'll just keep the shafts from falling out. But right now they're doing fine. Shaft collars don't fit back there unless you do something to the shaft collars, which I cannot do right now. So that's that. Again, there's 2 Teflon washers on each side of these gears. 2 on each side of those gears. Here we just have 2 wide C channel because we didn't want to interfere with the rollers on the green wheels. On the Omni, I can't speak today. On the Omni wheels, so we've got 2 wide down the center, a bearing screw, a 2-inch screw into our spacers, into a washer. This is just giving it enough clearance so that these actually don't have way too much friction, because the C channel otherwise would push directly into it. Into the other side, and there is a bearing over here which is holding everything together. Same thing on this side. The reason why we're using 375 spacers instead of 0.5 spacers is literally because I use them all on our base. So let's talk about that. So if you remember last time, this bar is still there, this bar is still there, this is the same thing. There's nothing across here yet because we haven't mounted the towers, and I have to rebuild this on the other side and then see if the lift will fit over it. That's okay, we'll see if that works. Realistically, our lift is only this wide, right? So it's fine. And then these are, I think, 3-inch standoffs, and these are just 0.375 spacers. And they're clamped together to help keep the C channel from shifting, wobbling around. We did notice that they were bending a little bit, so it's quite unfortunate. But now that we fixed it, and also now there's a flat surface, so I can literally run into people and not have to worry about them coming into our robot and ripping something out from back here. Yay! That's what those plates were for, but yay nonetheless. So you'll notice one thing, we have now nylon spacers instead of our standoffs. So the standoffs we decided to switch out because getting them on and off is an absolute pain. Getting them tight is an absolute pain. I would highly recommend if you're going to do a base that's lifted like this, do not use the standoffs. Use these nylon spacers if they're just half an inch. If it's more than half an inch and you're not going to screw through the entire standoff, I guess, but standoffs do come loose really easily. We observed that last year. So we switched to just nylon spacers. And we're using caps nuts because I'm lazy and I don't want to screw in nylocks. So that's that. And honestly, if you got caps nuts tight enough, they don't come loose. We've never had caps nuts that were properly tightened to come loose. We're using bearings on top just to give it a little bit more stability. On the bottom, we can get a bearing to fit with all of the stuff that was down here. Whatever, no big deal. We used 3 nylon spacers in the back. Very excessive, I know, but it just somehow with the 3 of them together and all of them being screwed in, the C-channel straightened itself out and became parallel, which was great. What was a little bit harder was probably doing the drive in the front. So we've got 4 nylons, nylon spacers in the front, and this is a 2-section long, so 10-hole long, 2-wide C-channel. So it's a little bit more difficult to manage, just because there's more wobble and gets amplified out to the edge. So we're doing 2 nylon spacers on each end, and hopefully that's enough to keep it from wobbling around too much. And also, one of the C-channels was actually bent in a bit, so I just bent it back. And that is that. I don't know what else to talk about now. There's our intake. Lots of friction because I over-tightened it. Easy fix. There's our nameplate. Yeah. Update number 3.